Comic Addicts, a show with Black Box Silver and Bronze. And here's my stack of comics for Alan, the Comic Collector Geek's Friday Challenge on robot covers. Let's go! I've got 10 great robot covers to share with you from my PC. I had to go up and take some down off of the wall because there's some really awesome books. But I do have one honorable mention, which is this one. Lost in Space, #2. This is from May of 2016. And this is Lost in Space, The Lost Adventures. And it's based on 2 unproduced TV scripts by Terry Wilbur. And I had to include this one because I had to include the robot. That was what he was mainly called in the TV show, which ran for 3 seasons from 1965 through 1968, and was a story of this family that got lost in space because they were supposed to go on a 5-year mission to find this planet, and then Dr. Zachary Smith sabotaged it and they went off course. And so it was Dr. Smith and the Robinson family and then the pilot Don West, and they went on all these different adventures on different planets. And I watched this show so much when I was a kid. I loved it. And that's a really famous robot, so I had to include him. I don't have a good comic where he's the prominent picture on it. That's why this is an honorable mention. But a little bitty of trivia: he was mainly called the robot in the show, but he had a designation. Do you know what it is? He was called Robot Model B9.
Identify yourself.
Robot Model B9, designed and computerized as a mechanized electronic aid for Earth voyagers engaged in astral expeditions.
And this comic book ran for 6 issues, and there were some other variant covers with it. So that's my honorable mention. And now we could get into my top 10 robot covers.
Destroy!
At number 10 is Rip Hunter, Time Master, number 27, from August of 1965. And as you can see, this is a comic that is barely holding on, but it's got a great robot on the cover. And this is about the robot rulers of 2165 AD. And Rip Hunter and his time travelers wind up there. And there is a central robot commission who thinks they're spies and wants to turn them into robots. And this cover actually happens in the story. And you can see these 2 guys, the chambers with the gas, which is going to start turning them into robots. Great colors on this cover.
Destroy!
At number 9 is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. And this is a Dell Movie Classics. This was a comic book which retold the story of the movie, which aired November 14th or 1964, or I don't know if you would say air. What do you say when a movie is screened? Well, the movie screened November 14th, 1964. This comic is from a couple years later. This is from March of 1966. And there are actually 2 variants of this. So you could see up in the top corner in that yellow box, there's some numbers there. There's a second variant that doesn't have any numbers there, and that is the Golden Record variant. So you can keep an eye out for that one. And this is like one of the worst movies of all time.
Destroy!
At number 8 is Fugitoid from Mirage. And this is from 1985. It has a wraparound cover. And this is by the same guys who did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And what's cool about this one is the comic store in Hawaii that I bought most of my comics from had 2 of these up on the wall. And so this was the lower price. He wanted $6 for this. I probably got it for 5. He always gave me really good discounts. So I said, just give me the cheaper one. And when I got home and I opened it up to read it, I found out that it had been signed by Kevin Eastman over here. Steve Levine, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, who was known as a colorist and letterer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And there's a couple of other signatures up here as well, which I can't figure out. But I thought that was really cool. I got this signed copy. And then when you read this story, what happens is at the very end, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show up. And then this story continues in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #5. So fugitoid is my #8 robot.
Destroy! Destroy!
My #7 robot is a Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet. And this is a 4-issue series by Innovation. This is issue #1, which is a homage to the movie poster. And this is from May of 1992. There are 4 issues that tell the story of the movie, and they all have these beautiful painted covers. I can't say the guy's name, but I will put it here so you can see who did these beautiful painted covers. The movie was in 1956, and in case you didn't know, it was adapted from Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Destroy! Destroy!
#6 is Robot X-51, Machine Man, whose origin and first appearance is in this 2001 Space Odyssey #8 from July of 1977. And it's got Jack Kirby art there. I love the Machine Man. I still have the whole run of it from when I was a kid. I was buying those right off of the rack and eating those up, waiting each month for them to come out.
Destroy! Destroy!
#5 robot is from Life with Archie #9, and that robot is also Robbie the robot. This is from July of 1961. I got a great deal on this one. I found an Archie lot on eBay, and it had about 10 comics in it, and most of them were newer ones, but there were 4 of these old Life with Archie ones in the back. I wound up getting them all, for 60 cents a piece, and some of them were worth $10, $20, $30. But this is a beautiful cover by Bob White. And what happens in here is Dilton, he creates this robot, and it can follow commands, and I think it's like 1 beep for yes and 2 for no or something like that. But basically he loses the controller, and then the robot just wants to do things like a typical teenager. So that's a cool robot cover. But what's even better is that picture there with Archie and Betty and Veronica and the hearts. Really nice, good girl art there from Bob White.
Destroy! Destroy!
#4 is Archie in Space, Jeddah. Here is Jeddah issue #6, very low grade copy. Very happy to have this in my PC. Was hunting this for a while. And this is by Pines from February of 1953 with a Dan DeCarlo cover there. Beautiful. And there were only 3 issues of Jeddah. It went from issues 5, 6, and 7.
Destroy! Destroy!
#3 is the robot on this cover of Magic Comics, #19. This is from February of 1941, quite an old comic. And it was by David McKay Publishing. And it's got this really cool Mandrake the Magician battling this robot cover. This comic is hard to find, and I just saw a post on it a few days ago on Instagram. Someone showed a nice copy of this, about 5.0 or 6.0. and commented that it's very hard to find in high grade. As you can see, this is not in high grade. We've got a nice tear up there, but even more so over here, there's some kind of staining or color fading, something like that. And it's got a lot of dirt on it that needs to be cleaned off, but a beautiful robot cover nonetheless. And it is hard to find in high grade, but I think it's just kind of hard to find at all. Magic Comics number 19.
Destroy! Destroy!
Number 2 is this robot on the cover of Fantastic Comics number 11. I love this cover, and I had an opportunity to get a second copy at this comic store not too far from me. And I passed it up, and I called back the next day and I said, "Hey, you still got it?" I said, "No, it sold like right after you left." Great cover, Fantastic Comics number 11, a Farrell or Ajax publication. This is from February of 1955. The robot is just destroying that town. This girl down here, she reminds me of the man on the front cover of Action Comics number 1, running away as Superman is lifting the car in the air. And this comic continued from Fantastic Fears. So as part of the seduction of the innocent, the Senate hearings, cleaning up, the comics, they changed it from Fantastic Fears to Fantastic Comics. And this, as that title, only ran for 2 issues. And then, so I guess that was 10 and 11. And then with issue 12, the title changed again to Samson. So Ajax just kept, raising the numbers, but changing the titles of their comic books. That robot also reminds me of the robots from Doctor Who. I can't remember what they're called right now, but it reminds me of them.
Destroy! Destroy!
My number 1 robot cover is Adventures into the Unknown number 58 from August of 1954. So this is what's called a True Vision comic. And this has this amazing cover of that robot destroying the train on the elevated line. And I love this cover. I wanted this for a long time, and I found it at a decent price. This is called True Vision because it was a 3D process that ACG was doing, where you didn't use the red and green glasses. And so what they did was they created these comic books. The interiors are just like this cover. They would create these panels, and then they'd make the borders black. And what they would do with the panels is the background would be in subdued colors. The objects in the foreground would be in bright, eye-popping colors, and the objects in the foreground would extend past the panel. And so it gave you this illusion that it was in 3D, and it worked, to some extent, but it looks really cool nonetheless, especially when you're flipping through the pages. And this is Harry Lazarus. He did a lot of the covers, and ACG tried this out across all their titles. And so I think there's about 18 issues that you can find across all of their titles that have the True Vision. And they were in romance titles. There were 2 romance titles. ACG had a title that was kind of like Archie. It was called Cookie. It was in that one. Adventures into the Unknown. What was the other one? I think it was like Captain Battle in the Atomic Sun. Very, very cool. And the interior pages, they're just so cool, especially with like the horror titles and everything. Really cool. So that's my top 10 robot covers. I hope you liked it, Comic Addicts, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.